Hello, linguists. How are you? Welcome. Um, Welcome to another episode. I'm sorry, I was hearing a little bit of feedback there. Let me close a session here real quick. I apologize. There we go. Okay. Now we're going. Welcome to another episode, linguists. I hope that you had a really good week. Last week, as you may remember, we had Edgar Hidalgo with us from Transinterpreting, and we had a lot of text messages about the courses that he offers and how great he is and all that. So shout out to Edgar again. And thank you for being a part of this. Hello to everyone who is watching us. Please, as usual, share in the comments where you are watching us from. And today is our first ever open mic sessions. And I decided to do this because of a little bit of a controversial topic that started in on a Facebook page, actually, that I follow. And I thought it would be nice to invite some of our colleagues and talk about it and see what they thought about this. So first of all, I'm going to introduce you to the colleagues that volunteered to be here on the open mic tonight. The first one, we have Fabián Buitrago. Hello, Fabián, and Romina Zaragoza. Two more
Hi.
interpreters might be joining us very soon, or maybe not. I don't know. I hope that you can join us. But hello, Fabián and Romina. How are you doing? Romina, you are muted, just so you know. But Fabián, why don't we start with you and you tell us what do you do? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, I want Romina to go first because ladies first, and
Go ahead,
I'm very
Romina.
polite.
Okay, so I am a newly certified medical interpreter. I went through national board, and I have been doing interpreting for maybe 4 years. And then I'm like looking to pursue legal interpreting because I just really love this so much that I don't mind taking the one step further, taking it one step further and pursuing something bigger.
Awesome. There is Helen, and Javier Castillo is watching us. Okay, Fabián, so go ahead. It's your turn now.
Okay, well, my name is Fabián Buitrago. I am a translator and interpreter. I have a master's degree in interpretation and translation from Universidad Autónoma de Guadalajara. I'm currently working as a interpreter and translator for the State Bar of California. Currently working also to get certified in the medical, since unfortunately here in California the state certification test has been canceled due to obviously the pandemic. And I'm glad to be here. And yeah, I'm looking forward to discuss this topic that you were mentioning to us.
Yeah. So the way this happened, and I just want to say hi, Helen, and she's sharing some stuff from ATA, from the Interpreters Division. Please go check it out. The Interpreters Division is a great division of ATA, and I just helped Mr. Rafael Treviño, who was actually one of our guests not too long ago for sign language interpretation. Amazing translator. Helen as well she's one of the best leaders I have ever met, and Javier is there as well. So Javier, you also are one of the best teachers out there. I really admire you, and I'm gonna be sharing some of the courses that he currently has available as we go along this interview. So the way this started is I saw a Facebook post about this amazing Chinese interpreter. I'm sure that many of you have seen her. I know for a fact that Helen saw her because someone shared it with us. And there was a meeting between the Chinese government and the US government. And the Chinese interpreter had to interpret 16 minutes of the Chinese representative's speech from the get-go. This was like the introduction. And did you guys see this as well?
I actually saw the article. I thought it was a great piece of writing, especially in highlighting our profession, how skilled it is. But on the other hand, I felt like, okay, well, yeah, she's an amazing interpreter, but it kind of gave me the vibe that they were like um, focused more on the appearance of her,
Yes, and
not so much on the professional side of things.
right, we're gonna be that's exactly what we want to discuss. But Romina, did you get the chance to watch the video or read the article?
I only read the article. Is the video out there? I
There
didn't.
is
Yeah.
actually a video. The
There is a
whole
video.
video is out there, and I strongly advise you to go watch it, and then form your opinion based on that. But yeah, that's what Fabian was mentioning is exactly the reason why we're here. Hello, Alfonso Villaseñor, another great interpreter who was a guest as well, and who has a course, I believe, in Javier Castillo's page. So you want to go check it out. So if somebody wants to help me with the interpreter's name, please put it in the comments so I can refer her to you guys. But anyways, the Chinese representative, I'm going to kind of narrate a little bit how or what you're going to see, how the video goes or the session went. The Chinese representative started talking and never stopped. Apparently there was a program already in place. I guess they had to stop every 2 or 3 minutes. As far as I remember, that's what was mentioned. And there, Helen just shared the video. So thank you so much, Helen, for go check the video after this interview. So he just kept going for 16 minutes, and then everybody went like, well, what did he say, right? And so everybody turns to the interpreter, and she is ready to she's just ready to go. And then everybody starts making jokes about how he went for so long. They say the interpreter deserves a raise after this, and she just did it impeccably, in my opinion. I watched most of the video. I didn't finish it because it's a long one. It's about an hour long. But if you only watch like 30 minutes, you can tell how seasoned she is in this already, in this profession. And of course, to be part of the government, you have to have a certain level of preparation, right? But the commentary, I guess, that became really popular was that she was being praised for her looks and not so much for her skills. And I strongly disagree with that. So that's why I invited everyone. So first of all, I do want to say that this is going to be a debate, and everybody is welcome to give their opinion. And we're going to keep this super open and professional and respectful, because I love debate. I love debating. I love hearing different ideas, different points of view. And guess what? Everyone is entitled to have their own opinion. Nobody has to be shamed for it, right? So Fabian was mentioning something about it. So what did you get from that, Fabian?
No, basically, pretty much what you just mentioned. It was just basically focused on her appearance. I mean, in fact, I just put her name on the private chat. Her name is Zhang Jing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I thought Mrs. Jing did an awesome job as being an interpreter. I felt that her skill level is high. It's very high. And I mean, it was simply, she was simply showing her professional side. It's just, I feel that the media, sometimes the media, they try in their pursuit of getting this. We call it in Colombia, we call it el síndrome de la chiva, which means like the breaking news story. So I felt like, okay, we need to make this piece of information. We have to sell it to the public, and and let's be honest, looks do sell, and yeah, they just hung themselves over that instead of looking at her skill level, which I thought it was incredible. And I've seen other fellow colleagues doing an incredible job in translating, especially on the on political scenarios. So I don't know. I felt like, okay, this is taking our profession the wrong way. They're pretty much they're making us feel like a beauty, like Miss Universe, instead of like, okay, we have you guys do not know how much work, how much preparation we have to do in order to achieve that skill, that type of skill level. You guys do not see but you guys don't see the bottom of the iceberg. You just see the tip of the iceberg, and how much, also how mentally taxing is this profession. One of my teachers would say, when I was in grad school, one of my teachers said that this profession is almost like the second hardest profession in the world after air traffic controllers. I don't know if it is true, but in me as an interpreter and a translator, after I'm done working or interpreting for a client for who knows 6 hours, or after I'm doing a 40-page translation, I do get mentally taxed, and I know a lot of, and I do have a lot of preparation. I read my translations. I do prepare. I do study vocabulary. There's a lot of logistic work we do before we get into that type of scene, and that's something I felt. You guys, you know what, guys? You just basically seen the tip of the iceberg. You guys haven't seen the bottom. So I feel that those media outlets that covered that story basically they just wanted to find a selling point, and like I said, it's a síndrome de la chiva.
Well, Romina, I don't know if you're still with us or if it's a connectivity problem, but okay, go ahead. Tell us your point.
So,
Yes,
I'm sorry.
the point of view.
I agree with semi-agree with you, and then I semi-agree with the other. Well, I totally agree with you, but I semi-agree with I don't know your name, sir.
Fabian.
So I honestly I agree with Fabian in the point of, like, yes, they need to have. I agree with the media. Like, the media always has an agenda, and I cannot recall exactly what was the reason of that meeting, because I know it had to do with politics, and it had to do with China, and it had to do with the coronavirus, and they were trying, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they were trying to say that China had the COVID problem more handled, right? That's what they were saying. They were saying that China,
that they controlled it better.
Actually, let me kind of clarify some of that. Those Anchorage talks were basically diplomatic talks between China and the U.S. because of because they arise because of the current trade war we have with China. And yes, it did focus on the pandemic.
Okay. But okay, so I agree with that point of view that the media does try to, like, share, like, create their own narrative. But, like, if we're talking about just the interpreter by herself, just the interpreter only on her own, I don't think there is nothing wrong, because I know there was a question in that email that you sent us. Is there anything wrong with being called handsome? This is a handsome interpreter, and I don't think there's anything wrong if somebody it compliments you on your looks.
So yes, I'm in the same position as you are, Romina, because first of all, to criticize anything, you kind of have to have all the plates, and you have to have tried all the samples, right? Before I think I watched the video, and then I saw some of the comments, and she is incredibly professional. She's incredibly skilled, talented. She is in my opinion, in the right profession.
Right.
I'm sure that she also has tons of technology as someone of her category interpreting for presidents or for, government delegates should have as interpreters. But she also was incredibly attractive.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like I think that we are told that we need to keep an appearance, and especially if you are with the government, you do have to have the appearance. Now, I do know that where is that coming from? Where is that mistrust, as I said, is coming from? Because women, especially nowadays, are becoming more aware of the microaggressions, I guess, that really famous little word that has, appeared lately on the commentaries about our looks and all that. But I don't think that we should, because of that, it was actually a compliment. Because of that compliment, I don't think anyone should be offended, especially as women, because I think that she is incredibly talented,
Right.
regardless of her appearance.
Of course,
And
guys.
I
Sorry.
feel that
Sorry.
that, like, for example, in our like what we see as empowering women are women that take off their clothes, that do these kind of like crazy things. But why is this interpreter getting a bad light? Why is this interpreter that is dressed professionally, that is, being an interpreter is not hard. It's not an easy job. I'm sorry. And we have to study so much. And then she has like a fresh face. She does not have like too much makeup, or she's not like showing too much. She's just naturally beautiful. And I think that, she's, I do not speak Chinese, but I have not seen the video, but I do think that, like, if but just being an interpreter, putting yourself out there like that and having to interpret that type of meeting, that is extremely difficult. So props to her.
Go ahead,
Definitely.
Fabian.
Definitely, I do agree. I do agree that we need to keep a certain professional level. Like look very presentable, very professional, especially when we're dealing. I mean, we're talking about one of the largest powers in the world. At the same time, I just feel like, okay, did you guys have you got instead of focusing on her looks, which I think, I mean, I'm gonna speak as a man and as and as a professional. As a man, I'll tell you, she's incredibly beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I mean, like, if I see her in front, I'll throw her a very beautiful compliment and be more bold and ask her to go out on a date. But that's another whole story. But at the same time,
Don't
as
do
a
that.
college,
Just kidding.
no, I know, but that's a whole. That's what I said. That's what I said. That's what I said. The caveat. That's a different whole. That's a whole story. That's a whole different story. But as a professional, I would say, you know what, you did an amazing job. I mean, I'm bamboozled, for the lack of a better word, of your skill level, and and I felt that, it put us in a very high standard, like as a professional, that our profession is very skilled. It's making us. I'll give it the props of, you know what, you're making us. You're raising you're raising the bar. You're just basically showing. You're showing to the world how complex is our profession, how our brain, even how our brains work while we are interpreting, because we are multitasking. We're multitasking, regardless. And I felt that that is something that that article or that video didn't show. They would have say, okay, yeah, this is beautiful. This beautiful interpreter did an amazing job of interpreting all this complex terminology, all this conversation. And I felt like, we should have focused more there. So that
Hmm.
way, it would have been it would have been instead of a piece of like uh like farandula,
Hmm.
for lack of a better word, uh, be a piece of, hey, you know what? You could be this interpreter. I mean, if you put on the work and if you put on the effort, I mean, she could be pretty much a mentor to anybody. And I'm an advocate of mentoring people in this profession. I'm not gonna say it's easy because it's never easy. Never easy. You gotta take this takes time, years, lots of patience.
Yes.
And I feel that this it's a good sound. I mean, this should have been taken into another direction of encouraging not only women, because I mean, I know for a fact that 90% of professionals in this profession work are women.
Yeah.
It's just to encourage everybody. Like, could be from kids going to college, or kids in high school, kids in grammar school, and all those stuff, and all those academic levels. Encourage them to say, hey, you could be this, and this is a great example. So I felt that piece of news, kind of throw it into the wrong direction instead of showing what truly our profession is.
And so I remember that the comment on the Facebook comment that I read was putting it on the male side. Like, if this was a guy, would would the reaction have been the same? Would
I,
have we commented on his looks?
I would have think the same. Yeah, it would have been the same. To be honest with you,
You
it would
think?
have been. Yeah, I mean, come on. It's just. I mean, if you put it, if we put it in the appearance sense, it would have been the same thing. I mean,
Hmm.
I mean, if I would have seen if I would have seen an interpreter that is buff, and he has a six-pack, chisel, bone, the bone right here, and all that stuff, it would have been the same fuzz. It would
Hmm.
have been. There wouldn't be. It wouldn't make no difference,
I
Right.
agree.
and it wouldn't make any difference.
I agree. I do agree with that. I think that we would have been making the same comments over his appearance if it had been a male than the, what's being said of her. Now, just to clarify, and you'll go next, Romina, but just to clarify, this was just one article that was commenting on her looks. I haven't read all the articles, but this was just one article that was focusing on her looks rather than on her skills. So yeah, we're just debating a little bit about how is this the right way to do it. I mean, how do you feel about the article and all that? Go ahead, Romina.
Oh, sorry. What was the interpreter's name? It was
Zhang Jin.
Zan. I'm just gonna say Zan.
Mm-hmm.
I
Zhang,
think
Zhang,
Oh,
Zhang.
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 Zhang Jing.
Mm-hmm.
Zhang's skills I do not know, and I just feel that I don't know how well her skills were, but like, just to talk about the skills, like, I feel like I am not a walking dictionary. Every day I go to work, and before any assignment, I am prepping. I am looking up. I'm even looking up different YouTube videos in different Latin countries, because just in Mexico and then in Colombia, I think you said you were from Colombia, and like from different,
Right.
it's so diverse. Like, we have so many. We use different words for different things. So I'm always like constantly learning. So I could only imagine Chinese. Chinese is such a hard language. Um, and what I'm trying to say is that, we don't know everything. And then I feel like this is why this is good, like, for other interpreters to get together, because we work independently. We don't all congregate in one office, and we don't all come together and like chit chat, do small talk about like how our day went. Like, we may go home to like our husbands or our friends, and then we talk about, but they don't have a clue like what we're talking about, because they're not colleagues like us. So that's why this is like so important for us to, like, build, or congregate, like, talk about it, so that way we can teach each other. Like, here and there, like, I'll like run into a few people like in offices, doctors' offices, and some of us we click, others we don't really, and some of us help each other, and then like we like lend a hand here and there. But I think that's why it's so important for us to have like a platform like this one to just talk about it. So
Yeah.
important.
Another thing, now that you say that, and when you mention it, Fabian, as well, I thought about this. It is a lot. We have a lot of work to do. This is one of the reasons why I started this podcast, because we have a lot of work to do educating absolutely everyone around the world about our profession. Europe is, I'm going to say this as a metaphor, it's like an island, because countries are so small and all together there that either you speak more than two languages or you need an interpreter. So interpreters are much well known, very well respected there. It's not the same case. This is just a feeling that I have everywhere else around the world, here in the States, in Latin America, Asia. I really don't know how it is in Australia or those countries, but I feel like for some reason we are not, what we do is not appreciated as much. So it is our job to do what you were saying: go to schools, promote our career, promote our profession, say, you know what, you could do this professionally, you could be well paid, well remunerated for your work, and you could also do a lot of good to the society by doing this. You are a community interpreter, right, Fabian?
As of now, yeah, I'm currently a community interpreter, but I'm also working on getting my certification as a court and medical interpreter.
Mm-hmm. And every time I tell people, for instance, I don't know, you tell me your experience, but every time I tell people I'm an interpreter, there are two things that usually happen. Either they, right after I told them I'm an interpreter, they say, "Oh, a translator," or they go like, "What is that?" Or
Yep,
"What do you mean?"
had
And
that experience.
right, the amazing girls from En Pantuflas were, I feel like, the ones that started this trend on trying to promote our profession, and they are really doing a fantastic job at that. This is also an effort that I wanted to do, but I feel like it's in every single interpreter and translator's field to promote this, to go to schools, to go to colleges, say, hey, you know what, we need a really good program for us. It cannot only be, associate's degree is fine, but like, let's go a little bit farther and take it to the next level, because we need, as everybody agrees, a lot of preparation, a whole lot of knowledge about everything, right?
Yep.
A jack of all trades, like Edgar
Definitely,
says.
definitely. For me, I'm a huge advocate on professionalizing our profession. Sorry, it sounds a little redundant, but yeah, I do agree of being professional,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm gonna put it in this way. I'm something that is been that has not been properly translated, sorry, or has something that it has not been properly interpreted. This it could cost either a lot to lose millions of dollars, or it could also cause a major war. And it kind of brings me up this comic strip of Mafalda, being an interpreter at the UN, and the country son, your country is something and something, and then the poor Mafalda is like, she's gonna say other thing. No, we need to definitely be professionals. We need to definitely to get our profession known, because, like we said, we're pretty much bridging a gap in communication, and we're just bridging it, not making the gap, widening it. And I felt that when I saw this this piece of news saying like, oh, this beautiful interpreter, and she became this internet sensation. I was like, no, guys, this is not the right way to promote our way. And also keep in mind that we have to keep in mind also that they because I since I also read went a little bit more in deep on the story, it was basically another way for propaganda. It was also it was also propaganda, and the Chinese government, the Communist Party, it's great at doing propaganda. So they also use this as a piece of propaganda. Don't get me wrong. And I felt like, and I was like, okay, this is not a right way to promote us, to
But
promote
I
the
don't
skill that it goes.
I don't know about that. That's probably your I just don't have an
Mhm.
opinion on that. It might
Mhm.
be your perception. I'm not saying you're
No.
wrong. I just don't know. I'm
No,
not sure about that.
No, no,
Mhm.
no. I try to. Well, for me, I try to keep up with as much information as I could with current events, because it is also a way to build vocabulary and
Yes.
retain information. But I also take the time to fact check things,
Right.
because
Yes.
right now we're at an age where anything could be can be real news, and there's no way to prove it.
And
And I've seen that.
so you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
but you're saying that the Chinese government probably hire her because of her looks, and it's actually promoting this
Yes.
beauty
Yes.
thing
Yes.
for their own advantage.
Yes, it's something.
Interesting.
It's actually something called. It's something called. And I should have mentioned. I have a bachelor's degree in political science, so I kind
I
of
see.
I know something, and it's basically a way of soft power. That's the term
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that we're trying to show China's soft power.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like, okay, that is not a good. I mean, if you're trying to project soft power through using this amazing interpreter based on her looks, well, let me tell you guys, are I just you're just basically going in the wrong direction.
Right. Yeah.
So
So Helen is commenting here, and she's
mhm,
saying that all international meetings are intended to buff up the public image of the country. I agree with that. One
exactly,
more thing before we
I agree.
continue. Janet Justin from Justone Association is here. Welcome, Janet.
Hi, Janet.
Oh, we can't hear you. You're muted, or your mic is not working, actually. Yeah. So maybe let's go back. You're still there. Don't worry. Just try to make sure that your mic is working, and we will have for. But yeah, that's very interesting what you're saying. But I also agree with Helen, because we don't. You probably know, because of your background in politics, that what we see on TV is not the real thing.
Exactly.
Right? It's not what's really happening
It's never the
behind
real
closed
thing.
doors.
It's never the
Yeah.
real thing.
Yeah, and the US does that too. So it's interesting. It's a good point of view. I like, as I said at the beginning, I like to get different points of view to analyze them on my own later, and see what can I make out of that. So I like that. Romina's going to join us in just a few more minutes. She's having a little bit of trouble with her connectivity, but I think that most of us agree on the fact that this was an attractive interpreter. The looks are noticeable. I don't know if they're. I don't think they are important. They are just noticeable. She makes, and she's Helen is actually just now mentioning this. Now that you're talking about Andy Gillies, Helen, him and other interpreters, big names, are always commenting on how well presented we must be, even though interpreters are supposed to be invisible, right? We also have to take really good care of our appearance, no matter in what set we are interpreting. So the fact is that the article is out there, and she, I guess, got more buzz by looking the way she looked rather than her skills in this particular article. But I do recommend all of you, and Helen has shared the YouTube link to the video right here, so you can go check it out. I do recommend all of you after this interview to go check it out and see how great she did. I know that there are some protocols for different governments in place on what you can interpret or how you're supposed to interpret certain things. And that is just normal for every country, how they deal with things diplomatically. Janet is back, so we're gonna invite her again. Janet, were you following us?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Yes. I have been listening to what you guys have been saying, and I really didn't even know that this was happening. I'm with this Chinese interpreter. I'm wondering if the whole thing was created by, no insult to the men, but by men.
Okay. So if you could allow me, you're the
Go ahead.
moderator, to give her a little bit of context, okay?
Yes.
So the context here was there was basically the Anchorage talks, in which pretty much the Biden administration is trying to rebuild the relations with China, and especially in the economic areas, because there's been a trade war with China ever since the Trump administration began. So basically, they're cleaning up the mess. And of course, they were using interpreters, and of course, this piece of information was focused on the interpreter because of her looks and her appearance. And as our moderator said, this she came up with this word of handsome interpreter, and I felt that and I felt that as a professional, it went the wrong way. It went the wrong way on the sense that instead they focus on her looks because they're trying to sell the story, and I felt that instead of selling it based on her looks, why didn't the media didn't sell the story, and in a way to encouraging people to say, hey, check this out, let's check out what is this about, this profession about interpreting, about languages and stuff like that. I mean, that was what I got from the story. And also, and to fill you in, I felt that it was also a way to consolidate the soft power of China, because that piece of information was also used as a way of soft power. So I mean, it could have gone. I mean, I felt that the story could have gone a number of ways, but mainly I felt that that it went the wrong way.
It's unfortunate, because our profession continues to struggle with us being seen as professionals.
Yes.
And we continue to be disregarded by really, really important life and death places like hospitals. I still see it every day. So it's unfortunate that it's going that way still. It's so disappointing.
Jeanette, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
I have been an interpreter for about 38 years now. I have worked in every aspect of the interpretation industry, but I've focused mainly on legal, immigration, and medical. So that's where I've spent most of my years, but I also did technology. So I would set up large, very complicated computer systems across the world for banks and large companies. And now I opened up an association for interpreters and translators, and the membership is free, and most of our counseling and emotional support services are also free.
What do you do in the association, or what do you see in the association for us interpreters and translators?
What do I do?
Yeah, what do you dedicate? I mean, what is it about? Tell us about the association.
Yes, it was formed as a means to support the welfare and the betterment of interpreters, because a lot of people, including myself, we've always worked for other companies, so we've been sole proprietors, and we have a hard time gaining access to health insurance, to life insurance, to retirement plans and things like that, that most of the time the companies that we work for, the corporate people do have access to that, but we don't, the interpreters don't. So I wanted to change that, and so I created the association along with some other friends that have been very supportive. And so we provide those things along with legal representation. And we also provide counseling for interpreters and their families. And we also provide support when you come off of like very difficult assignments. We're there. The chat is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for anyone that needs it. There's also other resources available, but my main focus was to provide the things that you normally don't have out there, that's to make it available for people, and not only just make it available in a generic way, but I'm working with people who I've known for decades. So these are people that are trustworthy. And with the pandemic, I felt that interpreters were just being, to be frank, mistreated. I, as a matter of fact, was working for a company when the pandemic started, and I was told to work in the courtrooms without a mask on. I was told to remove it. And when I didn't remove it, they took away all my work. I was left with no work for the rest of the pandemic. They punished me severely for not wearing my mask, but I felt that I had to wear it because, I didn't want to get sick. My mother is elderly. My son has asthma, and so I felt that we were being treated completely unfairly. Some interpreters were asked to interpret from the outside of courthouses while the attorneys were inside, and they were out in the wind, they were out in the cold, and I had it. And so I wanted to be there to help interpreters go through this emotional stress and also offer the support, whether it be legal, emotional, or any way that I could to help. I also got PPE for interpreters, and I give it free to anyone that needs it. So it's basically to help the community. That's our goal.
That's a very nice altruistic job that you're doing, Jeanette, and I thank you for that. We have Romina back, and let's see. I will send you, Fabian, the information about Helen and all that. You'll see. Thank you for touching on that topic, Jeanette, because that's something that actually I wanted to ask all of you. We are 1 year into this mess, and a lot of us have had a lot of trouble, getting back on our feet. Most of us are already back on our feet, but some of us, probably many of us, are not yet. So how are things going with you guys ever since this started back in my case was March 16th. How about you, Romina? How things have evolved a year after?
Well, to be honest, I have to be very honest, I have a very good spirit like throughout this whole I got certified during the pandemic. So to me, that was a big milestone. And before the pandemic, I was just always on the go. and never had time to study. I always would say, okay, I'm studying, I'm gonna take time off of work to study. But because of this, my work did slow down. But then it also compensated because I was as a non-certified interpreter, my rates were still a little bit high, so I was able to continue to still work and to study for my exam. And then right now I'm just trying to negotiate all of my contracts with the older agencies and with newer agencies, so that way I can, make a good living off of interpreting. And I think maybe the pandemic is still going on. I don't know, but at least here in Fresno, like things are slowly starting to open up. But I still plan on studying for legal interpreting, because I do feel like there is a difference, like in terms of treatment. I feel like maybe legal interpreters probably get better treatment than healthcare interpreters. They probably get treated better, like in terms of like they recognize that the interpreter is needed in the court. They're needed in the attorney's office,
Yeah,
because like
Romina,
there are.
I think that there's a crackling coming from your end, and
Oh,
I apologize for that. I don't know if you can get like maybe some a headset. I'm sorry, what you're
oh
saying
yeah.
is super interesting. So
Okay.
maybe
I'll
some
I'll
earbuds.
do it.
Yeah, yeah. But go ahead, Jeanette. Can you tell us a little bit about? Oh, is I don't know if it was Romina or if it was you, Jeanette.
I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Very, very low. Do you happen to have headset, earbuds, or something so you can so we
I
can hear you better? It might be coming from you. Let me. Yeah, I think it's coming from yours.
Well, if I may fill in while they get
Yeah.
their audio equipment sorted together. Uh, well, I want to share I would like to share my experience throughout this year of pandemic. Yes, it's been a little hard, like for everybody. For me, it has been hard, especially not so much on the work, but especially on the environment. Because I used to, where I work, it's a big office where I work, and I had the chance to interact with not only with coworkers but also interact with the public in general. Um, of course, on the other hand, my translation work has increased, and of course the interpretation work is very little that I do. I mean, if I had to put a number to it, 80% of my work is interpretation, 20% is translation, and that translation is done over the phone. And a very 5% of that interpretation work is with the public, like being in front of the public. Um, yeah, there were some episodes for me where I had a little bit of depression because of the pandemic, but fortunately, I kept myself active. Also playing some video games. I'm not a gamer, but I try to relieve some stress, and definitely did some therapy, because why not? It's okay to be it's okay to feel depressed. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to feel feeling all those things, and I am in the philosophy that in order to come from the other side, you must suffer a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I so far in this year of pandemic, I also took time to travel, spend time with family. I also took time to improve my working space. I invested some money on purchasing things especially to improve my workplace, especially since I work my workspace here at home. Okay, since I am sitting all day, and it takes a toll on your back, and I've improved a lot of things. So I am definitely I think by by doing things outside of your comfort zone, and doing and investing in yourself, like Romina mentioned. She got certified through the pandemic, which it was a great achievement. Congratulations to her. I'm also studying for that. I'm also finding time to do that. And yeah, it's just like this is basically a time where we're basically in hibernation. We're like sleeping bears, and we're just hibernating. And what I mean by hibernating, getting prepared, improving ourselves, just so when everything comes back to normal, we could just be those roaring bears and ready to hunt for our prey. So yeah, I feel like we're in that. And there's actually a video. I mean, I want to share. I'm gonna share it to you. Of a YouTuber that I watch. His name is CG Gray. He puts a lot of great educational videos, and he's mentioning something about the being in the pandemic. Like right now, we're on a spaceship, and that we should take this time of the pandemic of spending time with us in this spaceship mode. Like we're basically find things to do. I'll
Mhm.
share that video with you, and it's incredible. It's incredible, and yeah, definitely, I feel like I'm in the spaceship mode.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I mean, like there's always gonna be ups and downs, and it's just basically on the attitude you take.
I agree. And I love the analogy of the bear. Okay, Jeanette, we're ready to hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Yeah, for me, after the hit that I took for for wanting to wear my mask in the courtroom, it just it was very difficult for me after that. So I started helping a friend of mine because I also have a business degree. So I started to help a friend of mine, and I took some time off and did things with my grandson and my kids who are, adults. But it isn't until I decided to, come out of being upset about what happened to me that I started to think about, forming the association. And then I was completely absorbed by that, and learning how to do it, doing the process with the IRS and all those fun things, while still having Zoom here at home with my grandson. So it's been very busy, even though I haven't been working. But I find great satisfaction in helping interpreters. And lately, I have had some work, but it's been mainly because of people that I worked with over these last 38 years that I've been in the industry. Once they saw that I had opened up the association, they reached out to me and they said, you know what, we've been doing business with XYZ company, but we're not really that happy, so we're going to go with you.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so now I initially I wasn't going to do this, but now they're asking me, for French interpreters, for Creole interpreters, Spanish interpreters, all kinds of interpreters, and so I've started doing that. So I've kept myself busy. Not a whole lot of money coming in, but I've kept myself busy.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And yeah, I'll have some comments after that, but I'm really glad that you're mentioning all of those things. And likewise, Fabian, it's everything that you have said. It's been, I think everybody has been through the exact same thing in at different times throughout this year. So, Romina, we're so proud as your colleagues that you took this opportunity to invest in your professional development. I actually did the same thing. I really have been focusing on that. I feel like I call it the great pause for me. That's how I go about it in my house, inside my family. I said, well, once the great pause happened, because I feel like it was actually an opportunity. I think I have shared with all of you guys a little bit about my background and my past and how just life has put me throughout all these difficult situations. So I guess now that I'm a grown up, I know that hard things come for a reason, to make you more resilient, to grow some thick skin, and to overcome things easier, faster, react faster, get up on your feet faster. I feel like that's what was particularly my case, because I had struggle in the past. But I like what you said, Fabian, about everybody has the right, should have the time to feel sad. Feeling depressed is not a bad thing. It's actually way your body is telling you, hey, look at me, I'm here.
You're alive.
Yes, I am you. Please pay attention to me. And I am really happy to know that you guys have taken all this time to, first of all, feel the fear, feel all the sadness and the frustration and all of that this caused. And then, as you said, Fabian, with your hibernation analogy, get back, slowly start waking up that bear that we all have inside of us, and practicing the roaring again, because that's what we have to go do in the courts, in the hospitals, wherever you're working. Just go and roar again, guys. We actually don't know for how long this is going to last. That's the honest truth. Nobody knows, because guess what? We're not in charge. But we are in charge of our lives. I strongly believe that. And we make things happen. We don't depend on anybody else. There are tons of resources available. And my motto is, I don't get to complain in the future if I just sat there waiting for someone. Oh, I'm so sorry. I get... I'm sorry, I have one of my little ones here. Can you go up?
Oops.
Can you? Oh, man.
Hey, buddy.
Life happens. Hey, you need to go upstairs.
No, but where's that going?
I'm almost done. Okay,
What's the right?
go upstairs. I don't know. It's actually here.
That is so common.
You guys take over. I need
No
to
worries.
take care of
It's
it.
very common. Now it's very common to see those things, even on live TV.
Oh, poor thing.
Romina, so
Yes.
okay, so just go ahead and give us our before you had your sound issues, go ahead and share your experience in to the topic. Like
Well, yeah, I'm so sorry. I didn't know I was gonna be on on a
No,
radio
no.
show. I should have
no,
been
that's
prepared.
okay. No, that's
But
okay. That's
no.
okay.
No, I was just saying that. Okay, so I will say this. Many people may not agree, or they always say don't talk about religion, don't talk about politics. But I am gonna say a little bit about my politics. I am conservative, and I listen to a lot of radio, a lot of podcasts, and what has helped me, believe it or not, throughout this whole pandemic, because in the beginning I was a little bit afraid, and a little bit anxious. But what has helped me is listening to what conservatives say. Like they say, don't live in fear. Like, don't be afraid. And it has been a blessing in disguise. It really has. Like, this pandemic has been a blessing in disguise. Like, in the beginning, we saw like the traffic cut down, like all of our lifestyles drastically changed. Like my son, like I could notice a difference in him. Like he was a lot more calmer. And it could be also his age, because he was getting a little older. But no, like, it really was a blessing in disguise. And I think just having that outlook in life, like really not being afraid of the pandemic, not being afraid of it, and always like putting your best face. And then I was talking to my mom today, and she was telling me how a lot of interpreters stopped working and they received unemployment. And I told my mom, I'm like, but that was not for me. Like, I did not want to stop working. I'm healthy. I have goals. I want to buy a house. I live in an apartment, and I strongly believe I could one day be a house owner. And I told her, like, I need to work, and I love working, so for me, like quitting or just taking time off for no good reason was not an option for me. So I definitely encourage you guys, my colleagues, everyone, like just to have a very to not live in fear. I think I was like, that's the most important thing. Not live in fear and to really believe that this is not the end, because it's not. I just feel like the media projects a lot of misleading information, and we just have to learn to decipher between like the real news and the fake news.
Or simply turn off the TV.
It goes back. And no, read the whole article, not just read the headlines. Read the whole article, because we tend to be misled by the media. And I think that's what going back to like the Chinese government, the communists, or I don't know. I didn't even like look. I didn't even know we were like in a warfare. I think that's what you had said, or trade something.
There was a trade war.
Trade war
in the previous administration.
Okay, so I need to research that, and I need to read about that, because I can't be caught like off guard like this. So I feel like,
Romina, again, it's okay to not be informed. Yeah.
yes, that's why these platforms are so important, like to have.
I am loving this. I love this. I don't know about you, Jeanette. What do you think about this? You'll tell us in a second, but I love this. And this is exactly what I was talking about at the beginning. We all are entitled to have our own opinion and to disagree and to see black and to see, okay, that came out of nowhere, but I'm talking about let's use another color, because now it's a very sensitive topic now. So we are allowed to see purple and to see turquoise and to see coral and to see all of this.
It's the art of language. The art of language.
Well, but it's not only that. All of us, especially as interpreters, because we have to be neutral when we're interpreting. We have to remove all of our beliefs. Everything that we think it's right or wrong, we are not, and we should not have any of that when we are interpreting, because we are representing the person that is speaking. So especially for us interpreters, it's of extreme importance that we listen. You can have your own opinion at the end, but you have to listen to every single point of view. Doesn't matter if you agree or disagree. And I love that impartial. Well, I do believe that we do have to be neutral, though. I obviously we have to be impartial, but we do have to be neutral. I think that's just me. But as I was saying, I just feel like this is of most importance for us to learn to listen, to not get turned off by somebody thinking is from this side or the other side, because that doesn't help anyone.
Well,
it never has. Go ahead.
I want to add something to that, okay? This is a great phrase of one of the, I think to me, he's the Superman of translators. Hopefully, if you're watching, Jose, he taught me this very beautiful lesson when I was starting my interpreting, when I was in the middle of my grad school. And he said this phrase: we do not translate or interpret words. We do translate and interpret emotions. Yes, we do have to be neutral, but at the same time, we have to be aware of the emotions that message is transmitting.
Yeah.
And that is key for us as professionals to understand that while remaining neutral. Doesn't matter the color or the flavor of politics. Doesn't matter the flavor of things, but you have to stay present. You have to stay neutral, but also feel and hear the emotions of both part of the message that is being translated. And I think that's the sweet spot we always have to strive as interpreters and as translators.
I agree. Go ahead, Jeanette. Your mic.
I apologize. That was
no, that's okay. Don't worry.
Interruption from my adult children. I had very good mentors when I started interpreting many years ago, and I was always aware of the person's feelings. And I agree with you, Fabio, right?
Fabian.
Fabian.
Fabian, I agree with you, Fabian. You have to communicate what the person is saying and what the person is feeling, because you are literally their mouth. You know, that you are it. They have nothing else. You're it. So not only that, but it's important to also, I want to add, because it's, for me, it's super important that you know the culture of the people, that you understand their culture and that you understand their customs, because I've interpreted for so many people. Some people are highly educated, you know, people in the government, attorneys, but then there's people that are completely illiterate, that come from a tiny tribe somewhere, you know, in Guatemala or in Peru or different places. And if you don't have any knowledge of those people, you're not going to be able to understand their body language, because a lot of stuff with people who are illiterate or come from a culture that it's not like ours, who's very outspoken, they communicate a lot with body language. So all those things have to be interpreted and understood by the interpreter. And neutrality and being impartial is very important. You know, we're there to be their mouth. And what we feel and what we believe, it's almost silenced, put in the back burner. You know, it just goes to the back, you know. And then if somebody asks me for my opinion afterwards, then, you know, I can choose to say it or not.
Right.
You know, if I find that it's ethically correct and it's respectful. But otherwise, you just, you know, you do the job that you're there to do.
I love that what Michael just said there. Yes, I totally get that analogy because, or metaphor, in a weird way. I 100% agree with that, because we need to, I guess you mean capture the speaker and then be a medium. That's what I always felt when I was starting. I literally, and this is pretty literal, felt like I just became transparent almost. You know, it was like this glass that everyone could see through. So yeah, guys, Romina, Fabian, Jeanette, and everybody watching, thank you so much. I really enjoy doing this for all the community, all the interpreting and translators community. I hope that this continues for a while. I hope that I can support any of you in any way. So I'm going to start with the three of you, and then we're going to have next month, hopefully, another open mic session. And I hope that you can join us. You can send us an email at thelinguistsradio@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. Like us, follow us, and send me a direct message if you want to be part of the next open mic session. But I am going to give the mic to Fabian now so he can tell us how you can find him if you're interested in, you know, giving him some work. Go ahead, Fabian.
Okay. I have my personal Facebook account. You can find me as Fabian Buitrago. I also have I have two Instagram accounts. My regular Instagram account, which is F Buitrago 1180. That's my personal. And the other one is Lingua Franca Translations. It's still in development. I haven't had the time to develop the IG page yet. And I also have a Twitter at Favo1180, and I also have a LinkedIn page. So I'll be happy to share with you all my social media, so you can ask me for questions, feature me in your podcast or any other type of platform. I'll be happy to share with you my experience and some of my and some of the work that I've done.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Fabian, for being here and for volunteering to be part of this first session. I hope it goes down on the books as a great one.
Yep.
And Jeanette, tell us about how can people find you if they are interested in Justin Association?
Well, Justin is spelled J-U, S as in Sam, T as in Tom, O, N as in Nancy, Association. And you'll find me under that name on most platforms, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook page. And then for the website, it's the same, Justin Association for Interpreters and Translators.com. But if you find me on Justin Associations and message me, I'll very quickly respond to you and see whatever type of help you need, and I'll help you with that.
Perfect. Thank you. And Romina, if people want to find you and offer you some work, where can they find you?
You guys can, well, I only have my Instagram page. It's my IG page. It's Romina X Zaragoza. And then I also have Facebook, Romina Zaragoza. But most likely Instagram is where I go.
Can I also share a little hashtag on Facebook and any other social media?
Please.
You can also find me on the hashtag Hot Sauce Interpreters.
Okay.
Any social media.
I am going to post it right now. I have seen it going around so much, and I love that you mentioned it.
I have to ask
Go
before
ahead.
you guys hang it. Where did hot sauce interpreters come from? Who came up with that?
Okay, so
Because I've been seeing that on Instagram.
Okay, so there's this colleague. His name is Mike Lemaine. He's from Montreal, and I believe he created that hashtag. And then a few colleagues of mine throw me the hashtag, and I started seeing some posts on social media, not only with hot sauce, but also doing different interpreters doing different things other than being at the performing. So a colleague of mine just threw me into that. So I was like, okay, I'm part of it.
Awesome.
Why not? Let's do it. Yeah, I mean, if it is a way to promote ourselves, why not? Let's do it.
That's like the fastest way to get known through hashtags.
Exactly.
I like
So shout out to Mike in Montreal if you're watching this.
Thanks.
My mic is muted. I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you guys again for being here. I really appreciate you being part of this. Thank you for sticking around. If you want to, a couple of things. Javier Castillo and Alfonso Villaseñor are offering a couple of really interesting classes. So just go and Google Castillo Language Services, I believe it is. Javier, if you're still watching, if you don't mind typing your website down there, or Alfonso, if you can. And if not, you can find them. We have had Javier and Alfonso in the show. And again, thank you so much to everybody. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy this. Well, we have a long weekend coming up, so I'm certainly going to take some time off. And I hope to see you next week, linguists. Take care. Thank you for being here. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.